There we go. Who is our second Janet?
I'm sorry, let me come off mute. My name is Kimberly Key. I work as part of Janet's team.
Oh, okay, great. Oop. All right, folks. We'll go ahead and get started. We may want Kimberly pinned. Let me see. There we go. So this is about Verizon's upcoming change from copper to fiber. This only affects your landline. So this doesn't actually affect your cell service or anything like that. You all should have received a letter from Verizon that let you know that this change was upcoming, and even more importantly, that you needed to schedule something with Verizon to make that change happen. Since I see a number of unfamiliar faces, I wanted to let you know I'm Mary Bloodworth. I work here at Capitol Hill Village. I'm also a neighbor on the Hill. I also received that same letter from Verizon. And I have a background in tech support, so I'm not a Verizon employee, but I do understand some of the techie issues that we're talking about here. I have heard that a number of people are concerned, have questions, and I wanted to go over the basics. And then if you have questions beyond that, we can get to them. Does that sound good? Janet and Kimberly, please don't hesitate to butt in if I say something that's incorrect. The first thing I wanted to note, let's see, I'm putting in the chat for everyone a web address that's sort of a frequently asked questions, and it's www.verizon.com/home/fiber upgrade. And that includes a lot of the stuff that we're going to go over now, including the phone number you need to call to schedule this upgrade and ask any further questions. I went to a meeting led by the DC Office of People's Counsel last week and learned a lot of interesting things. One of which is people are nervous about the change to fiber, but truth is it's long been part of the system. It's just not this, what they call last mile from the network operating center to your house. That's the part that's changing. So it's fiber is not some brand new thing that's never been tested. It's been around. What this means for you is that they will need to install some hardware, a box, and you already have one of those at your house. It's just that it services copper, and they'll need to install a new one. The wire, and that's what you need to call them to schedule. That's why a lot of this is an issue. And the wiring in your house will remain the same. You can use your same phones, your same answering machine, your same security system. Anything that depended on the landline in your house will not be affected by this. So, you know, you won't have to worry about that. I wanted to go over a bit about fiber versus copper, pro and con. The pro of fiber is it's faster and newer. It's not an aging system. Fiber, unlike copper, works when it's wet. Have you ever had degraded sound on your phone and it turns out that the cables were wet? Fiber doesn't have that problem. Another thing that's really good about fiber is right now it's about to be your only option. So learn to love it. The downside is, and it's a lot of people's concern, is that it doesn't work in a power outage. Now, Verizon is going to mitigate this by also installing a battery backup. It's literally batteries, D-cell batteries like you put in a flashlight. I believe there are about a dozen of them in the kit, and you are responsible for them. We'll talk about that later, but they're regular batteries like you can buy at CVS. The doesn't work in a power outage isn't quite as dire as it seems. And at least for most of us, we live on the hill. We don't lose power much because our lines are buried unless somebody runs into a transformer. Even in the derecho, all my suburban friends were in my house because we had power and they did not. So this is where we can be a little bit either relaxed or smug, depending on your point of view, that this is something that probably will not be an issue. And even if we do lose power, there's a battery backup. As I said, to start this service or to start the installation, you'll need to call Verizon. And that number is 877-439-742. And that's also on that website. It's mandatory that you schedule this upgrade. You can't just kind of wait it out and have things magically happen. You do need to schedule this upgrade. There's no charge to you for this. Your phone service and your price, your features will not change. If you don't schedule an upgrade by the end date that's on your letter, and I can't give you the end date because it's different for everyone, then you'll have about a 2-week grace period where your phone service is suspended and you can call 911 or Verizon to schedule your upgrade. And if you don't, after that, your phone service will be cut off. So you need to do this to continue to have your phone service, landline only. And sorry, I needed to repeat that phone number to call is 877-439-7442. Janet, do you have a feel for how long it takes when they install this?
Yeah, usually the technician has some work to do outside. I'll back up. The technician will come, they'll do a walkthrough through the home, they'll lay out what's going to happen. Then they'll have some work to do outside of the home. I don't know what the setup for all of your homes are, but they have to bring fiber to the home. Then their inside work should be, because this is voice only, less than 2 hours. They'll mount the box, they'll walk you through it, the power batteries, all of those things. And then the switch over is about 3 minutes from your phone service moving from the copper to the new box.
Great, thank you so much.
Sure.
That's how you can schedule it for yourself. I'm trying to think of where to go next. Installation. So one of our members who's already had this has reported that it's kind of helpful if you know where the phone lines come into the house. It's helpful to be able to show the technicians that ahead of time. It's not mandatory. One user had asked, will they punch a hole in the wall? Janet, do you have a feel for that? Is there anything like
Yes, there is a hole that needs to come so that the fiber can enter the home. It's about the size of a pencil. And then they put a cap around that. It's very neatly done. It's not a hole. It's just this, it's just the size so they can get that fiber cable in.
Great, thank you. And let's see, another thing, it requires inside an electrical outlet, but if it turns out that one is needed, that there's not one available in the place they need, Verizon will bring an electrician and install it. One thing I didn't get, Janet, was who pays for that installation of an outlet?
Yeah, so it's very rare there isn't an outlet. It doesn't have to be right here. It's how, the cable can go pretty far. We would pay for that if that was the only option in the home to get this going.
Right.
That's not our choice, though, to install outlets, obviously.
Right, sure. They'll be installing 2 pieces of hardware, an optical network terminal, an ONT, and that's the box that will give you service, and backup power unit for voice. And that's the D battery backup unit that we talked about before. As I said, the backup device has about a dozen D batteries, and on the one hand, that seems a little excessive, doesn't it? But they found that actually this way because the customer is responsible for the upkeep of these, you can go buy those batteries at CVS. You don't have to like order some big brick from Amazon. And with normal use, the batteries should last about 8 years from installation. So it'll be a while before you have to deal with that.
Yeah, so can we just talk, the battery backup unit, the technician will walk you through it. We suggest that you leave it in the off position. So unless there is a storm coming or you knew there was a power outage or something like that, leave it in the off position, and then those batteries would last about 8 years. On the on position, it would slowly drain, and you might have to change those batteries in 2 years. Now, we just heard that the Hill doesn't get a lot of outages, so that's great news. And then if you did have an outage, you can then toggle on and off your voice service to extend the life of those batteries, and you would get 24 hours of talk time. So you could make a call the power company, call your relatives, hang up, turn it back off. If the power company said, oh, it's the transformer blew, this is going to take 3 days, you could extend the life of those batteries and not have to replace them.
Fabulous. So that, one thing that is noted is that cordless phones wouldn't be powered by the backup. It's just the one that's in the wall, but your cordless phones wouldn't have been powered before anyway. That's actually no change from the current situation. So
that is correct, Mary. Yep.
Yeah. One thing that I also wanted to go over, and I think it's very important for anyone, but us being in Washington, D.C., we're quite on top of these things, and that's fiber phone service versus FiOS. Fiber phone service, what we're talking about here, the upgrade, is a utility that's regulated by the FCC, and usually it's states, but in the district, it's the Office of People's Counsel. And that won't change if you're on fiber phone service. FiOS is internet access, and that's maybe what you use to get TV and internet connection. And they have a bundle that would include phone service, and it would seem cheaper than your current landline. But it's important to note that that is not the same thing, in particular when it comes to regulation. Then it's seen as part of your internet service, and that is not a utility that's regulated. And I wanted to make sure that everyone kind of understood that distinction. It's tough because people use the terms interchangeably, but it is important to note that if you want the same service that you have, it's going to be just standalone. If you get something that's part of a bundle, it's not going to be the exact same service.
Mary, can I ask a question? It sounds like internet and TV is provided already to your residents from some, no. Oh, okay.
No,
Okay.
so we're not a residential,
Okay.
These are folks in homes and apartments, just like anywhere.
So I do want to clarify, if someone does want internet and TV, this same box will provide it, and you can mix and match the regulated voice with the FiOS voice. Once you add internet and TV, doesn't mean you still can't have the regulated voice that you have now. So it's all mix and matchable if that's something that's of interest.
Right. Okay, I see. I was looking at the questions, but I see that Kimberly has been dutifully answering things as they come in, which is perfect. Does anyone have any questions for us about the upcoming changes? So Marina McCullough.
Yes, hi, thank you. I have been out of the country, so I haven't maybe looked at all my mail. However, I thought I had, and I don't recall seeing this. But I also wonder, has this been around, and could I maybe already have done this over the last couple of years? Because I do have boxes and I did have people come and I don't really know what they do.
Absolutely. So if you've already moved over to fiber, then you wouldn't have gotten a letter. And if you missed the letter, don't worry, we send out tons of letters. This isn't a one and done. So there'll be follow-up letters. There'll be outbound calling. We won't miss you, Marina, I promise.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Mary, is there any value with me putting up the pictures of the boxes or?
Sure, yeah,
Okay.
I think that would be great. Thank you.
Tell me when you can see this.
I can see it.
Great.
I've been threatening you for 3 years and I haven't. And so what's going on in there? This is the capital.
So this is what the
district.
Sorry. I think, was someone asking a question? Okay, so if you can see the screen, this is what the ONT looks like. It's a black box. It can be wall mounted or it can fit on a stand and be put on a bookshelf. It's about 7 inches by 11 inches and about 1 inch deep. This is the power, the plug for it. And then that's what the D-cell tray battery looks like. And again, you can leave this with the unit. You can plug it in when you need it. You can turn it on and off. There's a little button right here at the bottom.
So he has the Woodbury, New York location and the Grand Texas location are the XO IP Flex.
Any other questions or concerns?
And then that's combined with the voice over IP.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr.
Yes, I
Cohen.
can.
Right, so we've been getting notices, I guess, for about maybe five years or so that the end of the line was here for copper. But we've hung on and they haven't turned it off as of yet. And we're told that, of course, Verizon wants to get everybody on fiber, but that, for example, in the buildings in Bethesda and other places, the expense for being able to install the fiber was under the streets and in different places was up to the residents of the various buildings in the offices, and those residents were not willing to spring for the amount that it would cost to do that, and that has prevented the changeover to fiber optic. And I've received a few letters from higher ups in the or supervisors in the Verizon system saying, don't worry about it. It's really not imminent. Of course, we are in Potomac, Maryland. I don't know if it's different from the situation from where you are, but I'm wondering about that, about the finality. Not
Yes.
Verizon is saying. I understand that they do want to make this final.
Where we have a fiber infrastructure started, we're going to complete that. We're going to build to everyone, residential and businesses that have copper. I'm fully funded to do that. So there's no cost to the end user for laying the fiber. And our plan is to be all done by 2028.
By when?
2028. So it's a big build, depending on where you are.
2028,
Yes.
2028.
Yes. So some people, like here, have fiber now, so we can move them now. I can't wait and do everybody all at once. So as we build it, we move people, build it, move people. I don't know your specific location, we could look
We're
into
in
that.
Potomac, Maryland, on Twin Creek Court.
Yeah, if you want to private chat me your address, we can look into it and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Oh.
So there was a question about you got the box for fiber 3 years ago when your copper connection failed but didn't get a battery pack. As part of this program, the battery pack is provided at no cost. We just started this program in this area. If you got it previously, you would have to purchase the battery pack. The fiber box service, only one phone. So I just want to lay out the difference between phones and lines. Many people have multiple phones in their home that work off of the same telephone line. This box will handle 2 lines. There's no limit on how many phones can hang off of it. It uses the same wiring you have in your house. In the apartment, does that make a difference? No difference between apartments and homes. It's the same box. And this question, how much is the box? I'm guessing, Alan, for the battery backup. I might have to lean on Kim. I think it's $29.99. Again, we provide it to everybody else going forward because we're forcing the move. If you previously moved over, then you would have had to purchase it.
I'm checking now, Janet. Just give me 1 sec. Check on the
Kim.
price for you.
I missed the first 7 minutes of this. If you don't take action, are you of some sort to get it changed over? Because I've never received a letter either. So if you've never personally take action, are you kind of lost forever?
No. If you haven't gotten a letter, either you're already on fiber or your location isn't ready yet. When your location's ready, you will get a letter.
Okay, should I call and find out about that, or?
Only if you want to. You can call and ask if there's fiber available at your location.
And Lynn, Janet also noted that if you didn't get a letter and they sent one, you'll get another letter.
Okay.
They, it's not like one letter that could get lost in the mail and you'll
Right.
never hear from them again. So,
Right.
yeah.
We got a telephone call, which was interesting. But now we have 2 landlines plus a fax line. So that's 3 lines. So I guess we would have to sacrifice one. Is that
Not
right?
at all. You would get 2 boxes. That we have a bigger box that can handle more lines, or you would get 2 boxes that would be discussed with the technician.
Also, we have a system that was installed 30 years ago called a Spirit system from AT&T, which dispenses hold and music and intercom and lights and all of that. Some people have said that the FiOS, as being a different voltage, might destroy the box.
I have personally migrated 1.5 million people, and we have not destroyed any boxes.
That's good. And you stand behind it if it gets destroyed, I presume.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's the first time anybody said that. They all said that they don't stand behind it if it gets
Nope.
destroyed.
If it's working now, it's supposed to be working after. It's the same service. Just need to tell the technician when he's there. They'll check it before they get started. They'll check it after. We have tier 2 support for them to call into if it's something really complex.
So what is your name and phone number then, if you're saying that they'll stand behind it?
Janet Gaisley Martin.
Martin, and your phone number?
I'd rather not have 1.4 million people call me directly, but you can get me at janet.a.gaisley, Gazlay, Martin.
Gazley.
A-Y.
A-Y. Martin
At verizon.com.
What is your position?
at Verizon.
I'm the director of this program.
What is the program called?
What's the program?
Network
called?
transformation,
Network what?
transformation.
Transformation.
Does that cover Maryland or just the?
Does Maryland as well as DC?
Yeah. Yep, we're Massachusetts to the district.
Janet.
Yeah, Janet, do you mind repeating that?
I'll put it in the chat.
Okay,
Janet.Gazley
AY.
I'm sorry, Martin, Martin at Verizon.com.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Is the monthly cost of phone service the same? Yes. Also, can you get caller ID? If you have caller ID on your account now, you'll keep caller ID. If you want to add caller ID, it's an additional feature. If you install fiber but not to get a battery, but got a battery pack, how do you get one? I don't understand that question. Sorry. Doris, if you want to come off mute.
Janet, I do have an answer. For new customers, it's $39.99.
Thank you, Kim.
Mhm.
If-
I assume that Doris's question is the same as I think Alan's had.
Okay. Right.
So same
Yep.
answer, 39.
Yep.
But
Well-
Kimberly just said for new customers, but these actually are existing customers.
No, new customers to fiber.
Okay,
Right. So because most people wouldn't make the change to copper to fiber just for telephone, they would have done it to add internet or TV or, take advantage of the FiOS suite. So we consider all of that a new customer. Will this affect my current Comcast for TV and internet? No.
any other burning questions? I see Patricia Malumbi there. You can take yourself off mute.
Could you please describe again what kind of access that the technician needs? Because I had a technician here the other day and I couldn't get access to my basement at the time. But is he going to come into the basement and then go through the house where the lines already exist, or does he just need?
I haven't seen your home, so my guess is he probably needs access to the basement so he can pick up the distribution inside your home. He doesn't have to go through your whole house. No.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Can I ask, is this going to affect, we already have Comcast for TV and internet. So this doesn't affect that, am I right?
That's correct. No, they're completely separate.
Okay, and are these huge boxes? They look,
Yeah, it's 12 inches by 6.5 inches by an inch.
So
About the size of a big notebook.
they sound pretty awful.
I had the picture up a few minutes ago.
I saw the picture,
Sure.
but you just hook them up on the wall.
You can put them on the wall, or they have a foot. They can stand on a shelf. They can be behind a cabinet.
Okay.
Like they don't have. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I mean, it might be roughly like your cable box.
But it'll be in addition to the cable box.
Yes, correct.
This has to be inside, not
Yes.
outside. And what about the outside box? Will there still be an outside box?
There will no. I don't know what your outside box would have been if you had that small gray box for the wire. Yeah, they won't need that anymore.
Will they remove it?
Probably not.
Okay,
Well,
not-
if
not-
it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
yeah. And how about the existing lines to the pole? Do they
Yeah.
remove them?
So we do that on a case by case basis. Can we get access to them? Is it safe to do that work? That analysis is ongoing.
And it would be the same technician if it's done. He was-
Probably when he's there, I would point it out to him and then he'll put in a ticket to have someone come and look at it. It's probably someone has to come with a bigger truck kind of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
In a 3-story house, I mean, you said behind a cabinet, does it matter? Can it be in a closet?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Doris reports she just had fiber installed at the end of December, but did not get a battery pack free. So
Again,
Doris
if you moved before the program started, you would not have gotten a free battery pack. We could check the dates on, before after the letter. If Doris, you
and
want
make
to
sure that we're
email.
not mixing up FiOS
Yep.
internet and the standard phone.
Yep.
Service.
So Doris, I put my email in the chat, if you want to email me your telephone number, we can check on that.
We currently have our landline forwarded to our cell phones. If in a draconian situation we were cut off by Verizon, would we still have the ability that if someone called our same old landline number, that it would still be forwarded to our cell phones the way it is now?
So you're asking if you don't take advantage of this change and you go into that suspend or disconnect situation, then the answer is no, your phones will not be forwarded.
Because you won't have a phone line at that point.
Correct. They'll get a recording saying the line you've reached is non-service.
And you said it goes in stages, how the cutoff goes. You said there's something that goes on for a couple of weeks and then something.
Yeah, you'll get a letter particular to you with a date by which you must contact us. You don't have to have the work done by that date, but you have to schedule something
The order.
before that date. Yep.
Right. And then what happens in that? Is that where the 2-week grace period is between the time you get the letter and the time you cut off? Or
No,
is there-
it's 45 days at minimum. The 2 weeks was between suspension, and when you're suspended, you can call Verizon and 911, and being disconnected, we would render a final bill.
And during that time, you still would have the ability to forward, your calls would still be forwarded to your
No.
cell phone? Okay.
No.
You could only call Verizon or 911
Correct.
for a period of how
2
many
weeks.
days? 2 weeks.
Yep.
Thank you.
I just wanted to note, we had a really good question in the chat that was answered. Will this affect my ADT alarm system? And in fact, it will not affect that. It will work just as it did before. Thank you, Rosie, for asking, and Kimberly for answering.
And what I would suggest there is make the technician aware you have an alarm system, because one of the things they would like to do before doing any work is test with the alarm company, test with the alarm company after, let the alarm company know that you're going to have this intermittent out of service condition. Like I said, it'll be a few minutes so that they don't generate alarms that your phone's gone down. So
But during the 2-week period, your alarm system wouldn't work if you're.
we're not talking about the 2-week period. We were talking about the technician coming to your house, the few minutes he has to take your phone out of service to move it over to the fiber.
I realize, but during the 2 weeks when you're suspended and you can only call Verizon and 911, during that time, your alarm system is not able to call the alarm system central station, I take it.
Correct.
If there's a fire or a break-in,
Correct.
whatever. So you're basically unprotected during that time.
Correct. Is there a box on the outside? There'll no longer be a box on the inside. And what what is the hole in the wall attached? So that hole in the wall is where the fiber will pass into the building and attach to the ONT that we showed the picture of.
And someone mentioned, you know, on the hill, many of our houses are brick and old, and yes, they can pass a hole through that. It's just like the old cable was. It's not a problem.
If we want to purchase a box, is there an additional service call fee? Ellen, I'm assuming you want to purchase the battery backup, is what you're saying, box? No, they mail that to you. There's no fee for that.
And Janet, is that the same 877-439-7442?
Yes.
That they
Yep.
should call to purchase that, so.
Yep, you can purchase it online, you can call, and you can always call 1-800-Verizon.
Which can be a 3 to 4 hour wait.
I haven't heard that. I know that some people find it tricky to get through the IVR. That's why we do outbound calling on this. So if you do nothing, we will make 3 attempts to call you to try to secure that order for you, make that appointment. And again, we know we're a big company. No one wants to sit on hold. It shouldn't be 3 or 4 hours. It should be, we're seeing call times more like 15 minutes. Our slowest period is 9 o'clock in the morning. So if you want to get in quick, I would call it 9 a.m. Little tidbit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good to know. Anyone else out there with questions?
Our
concerns?
existing hole in the house is on one side of the house, and the existing ONT for the Verizon copper is on the opposite side of the house. Are they able to come in on the side of the house, for example, where our cable is coming in, even though that's the opposite side of the house to where the ONT is located for Verizon copper?
You'd have to have that conversation with the installer. I couldn't make that call from here.
That's fine. Thank you.
Well, I so appreciate you,
Yeah.
all of you attending and having us come. I know that, you know, change isn't fun and it's hard. We're trying to make this as simple as possible. As Mary said, fiber really is more resilient. If your phone service were to break, I would much rather break on fiber. We can fix it in minutes. When copper service breaks or gets wet, we're in days, weeks. It's very difficult to get copper cable. It's not green. People aren't mining copper. So this is where we're going. And I appreciate your cooperation and loyalty to Verizon.
Thank you so much for coming.
Do you mind repeating that 877 number just once more, please?
Sure, that's 877-439-7442.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming, everyone, and good luck with the change. And Janet and Kimberly both, thank you very much for your assistance.
And I did put my email for all of you in the chat. If it's not going well, I'd love to hear that. You know, we have a team that is project managing this that will certainly step up and help.
Great.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thanks.